Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and today we're talking about the only 5 whiskeys you can keep. Before we're getting into the subject of the 5 whiskeys we're allowing ourselves to keep, it's time to talk about today's video sponsor, IntoTheAM.com. IntoTheAM.com is a website, and on that website you can buy shirts and underpants and outerwear and tank tops, bomber jackets, hoodies, sweatshirts, graphic tees, basic tees, and more. IntoTheAM.com is your one-stop shop for all the best clothing on the planet, Janet. The new Bourbon Junkies collab with IntoTheAM.com drops today. It's a giant octopus just manhandling or octopus handling a bourbon barrel at the bottom of the seafloor. And if you want to see more of what Into the AM has in store, then click on my link in the description below. Head on over there, save 10% by using code ADHD10 at checkout. I'll save you some time right now, and if you click this link right here, you'll go straight to the Bourbon Junkies t-shirt. Thank you IntoTheAM.com for sponsoring this video, and thank you for making clothing that I love to drape across my gigantic body. Now that we've talked about IntoTheAM.com, it's time to talk about the only 5 whiskeys I can keep. Long story short, we're thinking about moving to Kentucky this summer. We moved to Colorado last year thinking that this was going to be the place that we were going to settle down. But guess what? My wife is like, life isn't that easy, friend. Come on, partner. Saddle up. Let's move back east. So we're thinking about packing up all of our stuff and heading to Kentucky. P.S. by the way, if you live in Kentucky and you have rentals, if you rent houses or have rental homes, or work for a real estate company that does rentals for houses, please reach out because we're in desperate need of a house come early July. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But of course, if we don't find a house, then we can't move. I thought we were settling in Colorado for life. So this bourbon collection got a bit out of control. I got bourbon here. I got bourbon there. I got bourbon over there. I got bourbon everywhere. And the thought of moving this shit back across the country has got me what some doctors would call stressed. So I started thinking, what if I could only keep a certain amount of bottles? What if I had to get rid of some of this stuff? What if I had to get rid of all of it? What if I could only keep 5 bottles? And then I thought, thankfully you make whiskey videos, because that's a hell of an idea for a video. Boom, bang, pow, check it out. What if I could only keep 5 bottles of whiskey? Which 5 would they be? And then it got really interesting. There are so many bottles around here that are either tremendous, wonderful, great, fantastic, have sentimental value, have monetary value, are relatively rare, I won't be able to get again, I spent too much money on, and other stuff. What I'm saying is, it's really hard to only choose 5 bottles. If you have a whiskey channel out there and you're watching this, I double or triple damn dog dare you to make a video challenging yourself to narrow down your collection. If you could only keep 5 whiskeys, which 5 would they be? Pecans. If I had to restart my collection with only 5 bottles, then of course I would want bottles that are rare and has some sort of meaning and weren't almost empty, right? So I had to put my thinking cap on. I was like, I want bottles that are relatively full, that are good, and that have some sort of meaning or sentimental value to them. Number 5. Number 5 is a rye whiskey. It's from Kentucky, and it's a hoot. It's Kentucky Owl Rye Batch 4. America. As you can see, it's a relatively full bottle. It's a 10-year-old rye, and this bottle rings in at about $300. This isn't something I'd want to have to run out and replace. It's a tremendous rye, and also it's Dixon Deadman's final whiskey that he blended for Kentucky Owl while he was still, I don't know, what do you call it? While he was still Kentucky Owl? Dixon's last blend for Kentucky Owl right here makes number 5 on my list for the only 5 whiskeys I can keep. Number 4. Number 4 is actually a whiskey that I picked up recently, but it's a whiskey that I've wanted for a long time. This bugger is Wild Turkey Diamond. Wild Turkey Diamond is a 60th anniversary bottle for Jimmy Russell's career at Wild Turkey. Eddie Russell picked a bunch of barrels between 13 and 16 years old. This bottle was released in like 2014 or something, and when I did a blind flight of Master's Keeps and special edition Wild Turkey products, this came out on top a couple years ago, and since I did that flight, I always wanted a bottle. So therefore, I'm keeping this Wild Turkey Diamond. Number 3. Number 3 on my list is a bourbon that I came in contact with for the first time when I made my trek to Kentucky to become the 2020 World's Top Whiskey Taster. This bourbon made my list for top 5 bourbons in 2020, and this bourbon is Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 3. This is a blend of 10-year-old Kentucky bourbon, 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon, and 13-year-old Indiana bourbon. It's a Sam Montgomery recipe, and it is glorious. Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 3, tremendous, glorious, wonderful, and full. If I could only keep 5 whiskeys in my collection, this would be one of them. Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 3. Number 2. Number 2 on my list checks all the boxes. Is it a great whiskey? Friggin' check. Is it nearly full? Friggin' check. Is it sentimental? Friggin' check. Would the cost of replacing it be what some spouses would consider to be too much money to spend on whiskey? Friggin' check. This bottle was gifted to me by Ryan Alves after we spent a weekend in Utah together with the Like family and the Bourbon Junkies. This bourbon consists of barrels that were hand selected by some of my favorite people and then blended by those favorite people. And by favorite people, I mean Mark and Sherry Carter. Mark and Sherry Carter, if you're out there, I love you. I love you a lot. I love you. After our glorious weekend in Utah when the Bourbon Junkies celebrated their retirement from regular work, Ryan Alves said, "Matt, take this bottle home with you and enjoy it." This bottle is super sentimental. This is Old Carter Bourbon Batch number 4. 116.8 proof Indiana bourbon. It is glorious and wonderful. It's sentimental. It ain't cheap. And it is one of the whiskeys my fat ass is gonna keep. Now, like I've said, leading up to this moment, there were so many bottles that I had to pick from. These aren't necessarily my 5 favorite bourbons in the garage or my 5 favorite whiskeys in the garage. There are whiskeys in this garage that I enjoy more or that I think are better, but maybe those bottles aren't sentimental, or maybe they're really low, or maybe they're just easier to replace. For whatever reason, I chose these 5 bottles to be the 5 bottles I would keep. And that brings us to number 1. That brings us to numero uno. Since I've started the YouTube channel, I've been super lucky to partner with BourbonOutfitter.com and Ryan Alves, and I've been extremely lucky to be able to do barrel picks to supply my patrons with. How many have I done? I don't even know. 7? 8? I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. I can't count that high. But if I could only keep 5 whiskeys, this would be one of them. The first whiskey I ever got to pick/blend. Thanks to Gene over at Cat's Eye Distillery, I was able to pick barrels from their lot. I got to pick bourbons, I got to pick ryes, I got to pick light whiskeys, and then I got to blend them together at whatever ratio I wanted, and I got to actually create my first blend. Is it the best whiskey on the planet? No. Is it good? I think so, but it's super cool and I'm super proud of it still to this day. So if I had to pick 5 whiskeys out of my entire collection to keep, this would be one of them. It's my NASA Family Reserve American Whiskey ADHD Whiskey Blend. Gene, if you watch this, friggin' love you, friggin' gangster. Rounding out my list of the only 5 whiskeys I can keep, NASA Family Reserve ADHD Blend. Bam. Bango. Amazing, glorious, wonderful. If this is a stupid idea, let me know, but I thought it was kind of cool. Let me know in the comments below. If you could only pick 5 whiskeys out of your entire collection to keep, and the rest of them had to go bye-bye, which 5 would you choose? If you have a WhiskeyTube channel out there, this is a challenge for you. If you want to have some fun and make a list of your own, go ahead and do it. I double dog damn dare you. My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on escaping. Escaping. Sometimes you just need to escape. Sometimes you just need to get out of there and escape. Sometimes your brain just needs a little bit of a break. Sometimes your body just needs a little bit of a vacay. Sometimes you just need a little change of pace. Sometimes you just need a little change of environment. Sometimes you just need to move to Kentucky and you're just awaiting an email from somebody in Kentucky who handles rental properties. Email's in the description below. Sometimes you just need to get away. And sometimes you just need to get away. Like for good. Sometimes you need to get away forever. And actually not even be you anymore. Sometimes you just need a new dust filter for your Hoover Max Extract Pressure Pro Model 60. Can you help me with that?